Hi, my name's David Littlejohn. I'm the Alternative Transportation Coordinator for the City of Carmel. My primary focus for the city is bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure projects and bicycle projects in general. In 2013, the Carmel City Council approved new laws regarding bicycling in Carmel and how to drive your car when cyclists are present. In this video, we're going to talk about the basic do's and don'ts for you as a cyclist or as a driver around cyclists when riding or driving in the City of Carmel.
Chief Tim Green with the Carmel Police Department. I'd like to talk a little bit about safety on the trails as well as safety on the roadways. You'll notice that you'll see a number of our officers out on patrols. They're out here for your safety. We have them out here on bicycles, we have them out here on foot, and you'll see them out here on whether it's a golf cart or even a police car on the street. We're asking people who use the trail to respect each other, also to follow the rules, and when they approach the intersections, there's a stop sign there, that's for a reason, and we ask you to adhere to the reason and then go ahead and stop. It's important that you look both ways before you cross. The cross traffic is not stopping, and sometimes when there's an abrupt stop, we have accidents out here and we're trying to decrease those type of things. So again, when you're using the trail, abide by the rules. When you see the stop sign, stop before you cross these intersections and make sure it's clear before you go.
If you're driving your vehicle in Carmel where cyclists could be present, it's always important to remember to share the road. When passing cyclists, you must do so with a minimum of 3 feet. That way you give them enough space so that the cyclist can feel present and you as a driver aren't risking causing a dangerous situation. If you're driving where they could be present, it's always important to check your blind spots before turning right or left to make sure you won't be turning in front of a potential cyclist and then therefore causing an obstruction and a dangerous situation. When pulling into and out of your driveway, a parking lot, or even an alley, check both ways when crossing multi-use paths and going into a street to make sure that cyclists are not present. And if they are, wait till they pass and then safely go into the street. When you park your vehicle in a location where cyclists could be present, it's always important to check your blind spot before opening a door. If you open your door right in front of a cyclist, it could cause a very dangerous situation where the cyclist could run into the door and then fall into the street. As a cyclist in Carmel, it's always important to ride in a predictable manner. This means obeying all traffic laws and using hand signals to let people know which way you're planning to turn or where you're going to be, and to let people know when you're approaching them from behind by yelling on your left or using a bell or a horn to indicate that you are about to pass them. On your left. As a cyclist riding in a street, it's always important to share the road. When you're riding, you need to ride in a predictable manner, but also look out for cars that could be causing an obstruction or perhaps a dangerous situation. If you're approaching a stoplight with a queue of cars, unless you're in a bike lane, stop behind all of the vehicles and proceed when the light turns green, rather than passing them and proceeding to the front. If you're in a bike lane, you can proceed to the front of the line and then go once the light turns green. When on a street, it's also important to use your hand signals to indicate which way you plan to turn and let people know where you're planning to go. This provides a safe situation for you as a cyclist, but also lets the vehicles know what you're planning to do and where you're planning to turn. As a cyclist riding in the street, it's always important to do so in a predictable manner. This means obeying all traffic laws, using hand signals to indicate which way you're planning to turn or where you're planning to go, and to always remember to go with the traffic rather than against it.
Also, the bicyclists out here using the roadways and the cars out here on the roadways need to realize that each of you out here using that and respect each other. If you're passing a bicyclist, make sure you leave ample room. There's a 3-foot requirement that you leave between you and the bicyclist. And when you go around the bicyclist, you're going to turn right, make sure you leave ample room for that bicyclist to react. And again, with a bicyclist, when you're out here using the roadway, follow the rules of the road. You have to follow them as well. And if everyone follows the rules on both sides, we're going to reduce the chances for injuries and accidents out here, and that's what we want to see. We want to see safe use of the trails and the streets and respect each other on the roadways and the trails as well.
The most important thing to remember, whether you're a driver of a vehicle or a cyclist, is to always share the road when cyclists and cars are present. When riding with a group of cyclists, it's always important to remember to ride no more than 2 abreast, and do your best not to cause an obstruction to the free flow of traffic. When riding on the Monon or any one of our other greenways and you approach an intersection, it's very important that you always stop, look both ways, and make sure it's safe to cross the street, and once it is, do so in a safe fashion. There are stop signs at all intersections of our greenways indicating that the Monon or greenway traffic must stop. When running, jogging, biking, or rollerblading on a multi-use path, a trail, or a greenway, it's always important to be aware of your surroundings. That means if you're wearing headphones, to keep them on low volume, or not to wear headphones at all so you can hear what's happening around you, especially if a cyclist is approaching you from behind and indicating that they're on your left or coming up from behind. When you're walking your pet on a greenway, multi-use path, or trail, it's always important to do so with an unretractable leash of no more than 6 feet. And always try to keep your pet at your side rather than running out into potential traffic. If it runs to the middle of the path or greenway, it could cause a dangerous situation for an oncoming cyclist, pedestrian, and even your pet. When riding in Carmel, it's likely that you'll approach a roundabout, and you may be wondering what you need to do when you get to a roundabout. You actually have 2 options. Your first option is to enter into the roundabout just as if you were a vehicle. This means going into the roundabout and leaving it on the street that you're intending to travel on. This is safe because you're traveling at generally the same speed as the cars will be traveling, and you make yourself very visible so that cars can see you when you're in the roundabout. Your second option is to walk your bike across the crosswalks. Get off your bike, proceed across the crosswalk while walking it, and then once you're safely to the other side, get back on your bike and travel on your way. Remember, whether you're driving or cycling on the road, to share the road. And if you're cycling, be cautious of others, ride predictably, obey the law, ride with traffic, but also always enjoy the ride.